What's up, guys? It's Wes, the Suburban Viking. I got my buddy Dave here with me, and we are Midgard Axe. How's everybody doing? Hope you guys enjoyed the first video. If you haven't seen it, go back and check it out. I'll link it up at the top. It's basically on how to pick a throwing axe. I'll give you some good tips and some good beginner advice on picking a throwing axe and what you should and shouldn't do, okay? And in this video here, guys, we're going to talk about how I stand in the way that I throw and how to throw an axe like a Viking. Let's get into it. Now, before we get into the video, I'm going to have to give you guys some backstory in each one of these videos to make what I'm telling you make sense, basically. So when I learned how to throw axes, I was taught by a bunch of different people on how to throw. I also learned how to throw axes from competition people and non-competition people. People that just threw because they enjoyed it, or maybe some did for self-defense, some people did it for competition, etc. Basically, what I'm getting at here is that the information that I'm giving you can really be used for anyone. If you're in your backyard throwing, if you just want to learn how to throw axes, or if you throw for competition. I've always been in the mindset that just because someone's doing something different than I do, but they're in the same realm, I should listen to them, because something that they give me could improve my game, even though we might be on different aisles of the same, store. We're still in the same store, right? So basically what I'm saying is that just because you throw competition doesn't mean I can't give you good information to improve your game. And that's what I'm trying to say here. So when I learned how to throw axes, I started a basic form and then advanced to what I do now. What I do now is my invention. It's my thing. I invented the way that I throw. Yes, people taught me how to throw an axe, but no one taught me how to throw axes like I do now. This is something that I created, and I basically took information that I learned and applied it to freestyle, what I call freestyle axe throwing, which is what I do. Now, the three stances that are key are basically going to represent how you stand when you throw your axe, getting to a point to where I'm at now. Now, each stance and each throwing video that I'm going to cover is going to always have three things in it. PAC, power, accuracy, and consistency. When I throw my axe, those are the three things that I always want to do. I always want to have power, I always want to have accuracy, and I always want to be consistent with all three of those, right? Can you be consistent with consistency? I guess. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, you sure as hell can be consistent with accuracy, and you can be consistent with power. So that's the way that I throw. So when I show you these different stances, understand that I'm keeping those three things in mind and starting you from a basic standpoint. And then as the videos progress, guys, I'll get you guys into moving and throwing, back, spinning throws, etc. The first stance we're going to get into is the open stance, okay? And the open stance is one of the easiest stances to learn. It's what I've taught almost everybody that I've thrown axes with that's come over and thrown with me. I've taught them the open stance. Normally, everyone always takes an open stance. My wife and kids throw open stances. So the basic thing to do when you're doing an open stance, and the easiest way to tell you, is basically you're going to stand with your shoulders facing the target. Your body's going to be facing the target, okay? Your legs are going to be shoulder width apart. And if you're right-handed, you're going to take your left foot and move it just a hair forward. If you're left-handed, you're going to move your right foot just a hair forward. So it's going to look something like this. That's what it looks like. So you're going to square up to the target, and you're going to put your left foot forward if you're right-handed, right foot forward if you're left-handed. Now keep in mind, the open stance is designed for quick, accurate throws. It doesn't have power in it per se. Yes, you can add power to it, and I add power to mine. But when you first start learning, it's not so much about power and more about accuracy and consistency, okay? It really takes a lot out of worrying about body movement and worrying about axe position and worrying about your leading arm, which would be your left arm, and facing the target if you're right-handed, your right arm facing the target if you're left-handed. It takes away all of that. So all you have to concern yourself with is taking a small step forward in throwing. So it'll look something like this. Okay? All you're doing is lining your body up with the target, stepping forward and throwing. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to concern yourself with. When you move your body weight to your front foot, you're not putting all your weight on your front foot. You're basically keeping an even amount of body weight on both feet when you go to release the axe. The reason why is because the open stance is really designed for an even weight throw. It's also designed for quick throws. If you put all your weight on your front foot with an open stance, if you're trying to do a quick throw, what do you have to do next? You're going to have to come back and reset to do your second throw. So if you want to be quick, you got to keep your weight even. So it's boom, 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 okay? I'll show you guys what I'm talking about when it comes to an open stance and then boom, 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 okay? Okay? See, what I'm doing there is I'm not driving all my weight forward to have to come back and reset. It's just a boom, boom, boom. That's why I say most of the time when I use an open stance, it's not really for power. It's to get the axe out, boom, 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 with multiple axes. Or if you're a beginner and you want to just learn how to throw, keep your weight nice and even, you're not unbalanced, and it makes for a really good beginner's throw. Or if you want to throw a bunch of different axes really fast, you can do that as well. I was really trying to keep all three of those axes away from each other. I just rehafted two of those axes, so I'm glad I was able to do it. I will tell you guys with the open stance, there's not a ton of power behind it because of the way that your back foot is. When you're standing here like this, and you throw, you're keeping that weight even. So there's not a lot of weight on your back foot to spring you forward, okay? So that's why I say the open stance is really good for beginners, and it's really good for quick tosses out of the hand. Now getting into the next stance, it's called the closed stance. The closed stance is basically where you line up, we'll pretend you guys are the target, and you line up like this with your non-throwing arm facing the target like this, okay? Now this stance here gives you power, accuracy, and consistency. And I'll tell you guys why it does all three. You really get a good idea of your target standing here like this, and your body's already proportioned for power. Now, the reason why your body's already set for power is because, and I'll step back and show you guys. See what I did with my back foot? You're able to load your back foot with power and weight and then push forward, which gives you a lot of power when you throw. You can't do that with an open stance all that much, but you can with a closed stance. The closed stance will also give you accuracy because you're honed in on the target here. You're looking at it, you're pushing off, and you're coming straight at it, okay? And consistency, you're lining up the same way each time, so it's really easy to master the closed stance because you have a consistent stance every time you stand like this to throw towards the target, okay? Now keep in mind the closed stance is really a stand still position, okay? So you're going to stand here with your arm facing the target here, pushing off on your back foot. I'll show you what it looks like. See how much power I had on that? Push off with your back foot, you're driving your body weight forward, and then you're throwing all that weight into the throw, okay? Now you have to remember that the closed stance is going to be a little different than the open stance. And the reason why it's a little different is because your non-throwing arm plays a lot more into this than the open stance does. Now when you go to throw with a closed stance, not only are you pushing off with your back foot to throw, but you're also using your non-throwing arm, okay? Your non-throwing arm does a couple things. Some of you have noticed this and some haven't, and I'm going to show you guys my secrets. So when you're standing here like this, right before I make my step, the first thing I'm doing, and you guys should all be doing this, especially with axes that are like 18 inches and up, take your non-throwing arm and lift the axe up for yourself. Stop doing this with your arm. The reason why some of you aren't accurate is because you're loading your arm with weight by itself, which is giving you an inconsistent throw. Use your non-throwing arm to guide your axe up. It's kind of like almost like a slingshot or a boomerang almost, to where it's like boom, and then boom. You can whip all that power whenever you throw this axe up with your non-throwing arm. So try it, do it. I'm telling you guys, it'll work. So you're standing here in your closed stance, you're helping your axe up here. The reason why this is great is because when you go to throw, you're using your non-throwing arm to direction your throw. So using your non-throwing arm to get your axe up, you put your arm in a position where it needs to be anyway. So you're standing here like this, you throw the axe up, you're getting ready to throw, now your non-throwing arm, I do a couple different things, you can too. You can either point your elbow at the target, you can point your hand at the target, or you can do kind of like in the middle. I do like it in the middle, but I would suggest for beginners pointing your elbow first, okay? So you throw the axe up, you're pointing your elbow, okay? Then right when you get ready to throw, you're going to drive this arm down. It twists your hips as you're pushing off, and you get maximum power out of your throw that way. So if some of you are standing there and you're throwing the axe and you're giving it all you got and you're like, man, it just doesn't feel like it's going as fast as Wes's throws or other people that I'm seeing throwing, it's probably because you're not using your body. I use almost all my body when I throw an axe. So it's here, here, and then boom, okay? And I'll step back and show you. Okay? It's pulling down with your non-throwing arm to twist your hips over to get your arm to throw faster. I'm telling you guys, if you do that, you'll throw your axe so much harder. Now remember, this is something new, so don't try to go out and throw as hard as you can at first. This is something that you're going to have to learn slowly, picking up. Maybe start with pushing the weight off of your back leg, then rotating your arm down, helping that axe up with your non-throwing arm. I will tell you guys that if you go outside and you try to throw too hard, the first thing, and I promise you, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to start rotating your wrist. Okay, we'll talk about wrists in another video. That's why I say start slow. Don't throw hard at first. Just go through the motions. And I'm telling you guys, once you get it down, you can pick up your speed and you'll start throwing harder than you ever have. And last but certainly not least is the modified stance. This is a stance that you guys see me take a lot of when I'm in videos. It is something that I do a lot for distance throwing. And the reason why I think it works so great for distance throwing is because you get to load all your weight on your back leg and project that axe down range towards your target, okay? In order to do this stance, what you have to do is square yourself up with the target, okay? If you're right-handed, you're going to take a small step back with your left leg. If you're left-handed, you're going to take a small step back with your right leg, okay? So you're going to orientate yourself basically like this, with your left leg a little bit behind your right leg, okay? Then all you're going to do is pivot your hips and your leg like this. Okay, like this. And then you're going to come into a closed stance. So basically what you're doing is that all you're doing, the closed stance and the modified stance are very similar. The only difference is that you're able to start your body weight more with a modified stance and really get all that weight on your back leg to push off the throw for distance. It works great for up close for throwing really hard. Whoa! Just like that. It really helps, guys. It's a really good stance for distance throwing because you can get all your weight on your back leg to project that axe down range. It's also really good up close because you can do the same thing just for a single rotation, but you can throw that thing hard. Now mind you, I will tell you guys that stance is a little slow, but with practice you can really speed it up and throw axes really far with a lot of power and consistency faster as you continue to work with that stance. I know you guys are probably thinking, Wes, you do all kinds of crazy throws though. You're running around and throwing while you're running, throwing in different stances. I know. I'm just giving you guys an idea of what 3 stances you can start with to get you to be able to move. At any point in time, once you master those, you can run and stand however you want and throw the axe. I mean, it doesn't really matter how you stand once you get good, but that is really good. Those 3 stances are really good at progressing you to get to where you can run, do whatever you want, throw an axe. I hope those 3 stances get you guys somewhere where you need to be to throw an axe. Maybe you modify what I taught you. Maybe you take a small bit of what I taught you here and you apply to your game and it improves. That's the thing in all this. It really doesn't matter what you do. If you can throw an axe accurate with power and consistency, it really doesn't matter how you throw your axe, right? So I hope this information found you well. I hope it does something for your axe game. Like I told you guys before, I'm not a competition thrower. Maybe I'll get into it at some point in time when I got extra time. But right now, this works for me, and I hope it works for you. And I hope some of my competition throwers out there really listen to what I have to say and maybe take something to improve your game. Even if you're just standing still, or even if you're leading with your right foot in competition and throwing like this, I think that some of my videos could improve your game, especially the wrist control video that's going to be coming up. So thanks guys, I really appreciate your support. Hope this video found you well, and I hope you guys were able to take something out of it. But until next time guys, see ya. I love this shit. Love you. Thanks.